So yesterday we had another Warriors Den live stream, and I'm going to be honest with you guys, I thought this was just going to be another week where nothing is really said, but I was wrong, as there was some pretty interesting stuff on there, and they shared a lot more than I thought they would. So today, of course, I want to go over what I found important with you guys. As always, I'll start off with the most important stuff and then work my way down. So let's get right into it. By the way, double XP is finally here again, which is always a good thing since we hardly get those, so now's a good time to rep up your heroes. So first, let's start off with the whole Shaolin Nerf thing. I've seen a lot of people overreacting to this, as anything that nerfs Shaolin is a plus, but it's not the biggest thing in the world. So Shaolin's top feint and 2 key stance is being removed. Basically, this was giving Shaolin another way to enter key stance, and apparently UB didn't want it in the game. It was a bug, so they got rid of it. This really doesn't change too much for Shaolin, it just gets rid of something buggy. I don't really think this was a bad thing for Shaolin to have though. It was just an interesting way to get into key stance, but a bug is a bug and it wasn't intended. Of course, I don't think this is the last nerf to come Shaolin's way. UB has said that they're looking into his and Jiang Jun's damage, so I'm expecting some sort of adjustment there, maybe at the beginning of Season 9. I highly doubt that this changes the way Shaolins play too much, so again, I don't think it was, this huge nerf or anything. Next, let's talk about the changes to Jiang Jun and Tiandi. So I'm pretty sure we can call this a buff on both of them. So basically, the dodges on their dodge heavies got a buff. Both of them have larger windows where they can actually dodge the attack, and I'm sort of happy about this. Before, when I played Tiandi, I often said that his dodge attacks do a pretty bad job at actually dodging anything. So hopefully when the patch releases, there will be a noticeable improvement. Jiang Jun, on the other hand, I thought that his dodging heavy did a great job at dodging attacks already, but I guess they weren't dodging enough, so he's receiving the same improvement. I saw some people getting really upset at this since there's a lot of hate towards Jiang Jun right now, since his animations are bugged and he does really good damage. I don't think this will affect Jiang Jun too much though. Of course, it will make him slightly better, but I think that this is more important for Tiandi since his whole gimmick is dodging in the first place, and it'll be cool to see him not get smacked out of dodge heavies all the time. And since we're still talking about Tiandi and Jiang Jun, I may as well quickly mention that they both received a smaller change as well. For Jiang Jun, it's that he can no longer Sifu stance out of confirmed attacks, and Tiandi as well as Aramusha both are having that 300 millisecond delay removed from their backdashes. It's about time that happened, as there was literally no need for that to be in the game for either of those heroes. Next, I want to talk about Breach. They made some pretty interesting changes to Breach that I think will change up the way the mode is played a little bit. So the archers on all the Breach maps now have more range and cover more area, which makes the ramparts a little more important to either defend or capture depending on what team you're on, since the archers are pretty important in Breach. With that extended range, they can now also attack the commander in the final phase, a change that I did not see coming personally. Of course, the commander has to be drawn out of that default position, but the archers can now lock onto him, again making the archers much more important for either team. UB said that the attackers were having a tougher time defeating the commander than they expected, since the defenders could just camp on the commander and win the 4v5. Now it'll be much more important to defend the rampart as well, since the attackers can lead the minions up to the commander along with having archer fire on their side if the defending team wants to just sit around and wait until the attackers either run out of tickets or wait until the timer is up. They also fixed the tracking on the commander's top heavy, which is a welcome change since it's so strong, as that thing was a heat-seeking missile and tracked you on dodges. It'll be really interesting to see how these changes affect Breach, as we found out last week Breach is just as popular as Dominion in terms of playtime, and they're really going to keep trying to balance out the game mode and find more ways to keep it fun. I like Breach, and I think it's some of the most fun you can have in For Honor, and any improvement to it is a plus to me. Next, let's talk about the quote-unquote Shugoki buff real fast. This isn't really a buff to me, it's just reverting the changes that happened at the start of Marching Fire. Remember when Shugoki had his stamina nerf? that's being reverted, that's all. He still has his rework in line, or fight improvement if you want to call it that, in Season 9, so this isn't really much, but I guess it's better than nothing. Now on to Revenge. So a little while back we sort of talked about how Yubi planned on tweaking Revenge. It sounds like they're pretty close at finding a way to make Revenge better than it is now. So they're trying to work on how Revenge is earned in both 1vx situations where it's you versus 2, 3, or 4 people, and they're also working on Revenge gains while you're ganking someone else, as well as Revenge in 1v1 situations. They want to limit Revenge in a 1v1, which is really nice. I never really liked that Revenge could be earned while having a small duel somewhere in the map, as it put heroes who use bashes and kicks to get damage at a disadvantage, since crowd control really builds up Revenge. And halfway through a fight, your opponent would have Revenge ready to go. I'm happy that they're working on that, as well as trying to limit how much Revenge you get while ganking someone else. It's something I've never really thought about, but it does make sense. Why should you gain Revenge for ganking someone else? It's not fun trying to survive a 1v3 or something and then have an opponent get Revenge as their health whittles down. As I said, it sounds like they're close to figuring out what will work exactly, so hopefully soon we can expect to find out when these changes will be rolled out. So the perfect bots are finally receiving that nerf next Thursday. I really don't have anything bad to say about this. We all know that level 3 bots were pretty boring to fight against since they'd parry at least 70% of your attacks and even mix a few deflects in there just to be stylish. With the bot nerf, we can expect to see the bots lose some of that perfection and they'll be easier to attack. It's honestly about time. I don't have to fight too many level 3 bots unless someone leaves a duel or a brawl, or of course when I'm playing arcade mode, but when I do, I usually just sit there and wait to parry as there's really no point in attacking. Speaking of people leaving in duels, starting on Thursday, the match will finally end if someone leaves in a duel. Right now, sometimes if someone leaves during the first round, the duel automatically ends, but for me, anytime someone quits or disconnects during later rounds, I usually have to finish the match. Well, now they're changing it so that now if your opponent leaves anytime during the duel, you don't have to fight the bot anymore and the match will just end. It's not the biggest change in the world, but it's another one of those multiple quality of life changes that this patch is bringing. Also, there's been a small change to matchmaking. The game will now try to match up players who have been queued up for longer. Hopefully this changes something, because every time I play, I usually have between 3 and 7 minute wait times between matches, which really sucks if I'm playing duels, since I get maybe 3 or 4 minutes of fighting followed up by another 5 or more minutes of waiting, which I've just accepted at this point. So I'm really hoping that this cuts down on wait times. Last big thing I really want to touch on really fast is that Shaman's bite is being nerfed. I talked about this a bunch last week, but basically the bite won't guarantee a kill anymore in 4s. Before, if you got caught in a bite, the enemy team could just heavy you until you died while you were caught in that long bite animation. But now after you've been hit once, you can react to the upcoming attacks. So you'll probably only lose 3/4 of your life rather than, being instantly taken out of the fight. It's not anything drastic, but it's the beginning of the changes coming to moves like Shaman's Bite and Shugoki's Hug, moves that will take control away from you in a fight and basically guarantee that you're done for. There were also a whole bunch of minor fixes, really small things like Valkyrie's superior block taking 6 less stamina, Jiang Jun's choke can now be interrupted, a whole lot of feats now have super armor removed, and the boat glitch on Beachhead has finally been fixed, little things like that. Yubi also took the time to talk about data and the way that the community has been reacting to it. They want us to know that they do in fact take notes and look at other things other than the big data. And as I said before, they look at things like Twitch and YouTube and Reddit and forums to, check out our opinions and whatnot, and also just have gut feelings on their own. I think we all know that the data isn't everything by now. It's just sometimes the decisions that Yubi makes are a little confusing to some of us, and it makes it seem like they focus a little too much on data rather than player feedback. Anyways, that's all I got for this video. I think we got a little more than we expected. I was honestly just expecting a patch full of minor bug fixes this time around, but we got more than that. I do want to hear you guys' opinion on this though, so talk to me down in the comments about anything we talked about in this video. As for me, Yesterday I caved and bought a Switch so that I could play Smash since there isn't much else to play at the moment, and I have some interest in Smash, so I'll put a little time into that and see how much I like it. Double XP is here in For Honor, so I'll probably play a little more than usual so I can wrap up on PC. Anyways, as usual, if you like the video, feel free to like something new, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.